Good evening, Holy Trinity. My name is April, for anybody that doesn't know me, and I've been part of Holy Trinity now for just over a year. So we're going to continue with Luke. Specifically, we're going to look at chapter 6, verse 43 to 49. Now, the part that we're looking at today has two different parts, so I'm going to actually split it. So I'm going to read the first part, I'll talk about that, and then we'll look at the last part. Okay, so part 1. A tree and its fruit. No good tree bears bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. Each tree is recognized by its own fruit. People do not pick figs from thorn bushes or grapes from briars. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Okay, so firstly Jesus gives us this metaphor, this image of fruit trees, and specifically of good and bad trees. And what I like for the first part is actually the part that he talks about uniqueness. So he talks about trees being recognised for their own fruit. And what I really like about that is, as us as humans, we have different hearts and we have different gifts. It talks in the verse about we don't go to a particular tree to pick a particular fruit. We go to that tree because that's the fruit that we want. And I think, particularly at a time like this, it's really important to recognise that everybody has different gifts and different fruits, and that should be celebrated. But I guess the real challenge in this part of the verse is actually the idea of good and bad. And what does it mean actually to have good fruit? So in that, the answer is given to us in verse 45 when he talks about in here. Okay, so Jesus gives the answer that the answer to actually having good fruit is in our heart, is actually what's inside of us. So the biggest challenge for me is what's inside of me? What am I actually showing in my heart that then mirrors God? And a real big challenge, I guess, as we walk in our daily walk, as we go to work, as we mix with family, with friends, there's times when we're challenged. There's times when our hearts don't necessarily feel good or have good. And it's in those times, what do we do to try and change that into something good, so therefore then we reflect God? Because I think that, the verse is a really good reminder that tells us what's in here. If it is of good, then it will come out. It will come out in our words. So Jesus reminds us that it's about the things we speak that come out of our mouth, but also in our actions. And secondly, for me, another challenge is actually working in education with young people. We very much at this time live in a society where it very much focuses on the external. So what people look like, to the clothes we wear, to the things we do, to the things they put on social media. That's very much how they are judged, or how we feel that we are judged. And actually this verse is a really big reminder that actually that's not really what God wants. God is looking at us. God is looking at what's in our hearts, not the external, but the internal. And so another challenge for me is looking at what does God put in my heart of good, but not just for me, but for other people. So what am I doing? What am I using the good in my heart to then support or help other people? And specifically, what am I doing to show them God? I became a Christian. I came to know God in my 20s. And the reason that I came to know God was very much through people. People who had a heart for God, who, because their heart was in the right place, they from the words they spoke to the things they did, that showed me who God was. I was naturally drawn to them. And it was a bit of a penny dropping moment for me, because it made me realise actually why I was the way that I was. Because God made us all, and God made us with hearts that are for Him. Hearts that are good, generally. I know we have those challenges, but it really made sense to me, actually. I think for us as people, it's a really good reminder the power that we have when our hearts are in the right place. I guess another challenge is for us as Christians is We feel like we want to do good. So we can go to church once a week, we can do our prayer group, we can do good acts, but actually that moral reformation without a change of heart is not what God is seeking. God really wants us to look inside and what's actually going on inside of us. In a way, he wants to do heart surgery with us. So I pray that God gives us hearts that are alive in him and with him as we walk our daily walk. The good fruit, the good words we speak that resembles God. And that those around us are drawn to him. That those around us actually look at us differently and wonder why we are different. And so to the next part, I'm just going to finish the reading now. So, the wise and foolish builders. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? As for everybody who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice, I will show you what they are like. They are like a man building a house who dug deep down and laid the foundations on a rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck that house but could not shake it because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation. The moment the torrent struck that house, it collapsed and its destruction was complete. So again, this is a reminder from Jesus, really. He's used that quite well-known metaphor of building, and particularly for me, it's about the foundations that stands out. But what he's reminding us is that actually our faith needs to be built on him. So in summary, the first part, I feel we're giving that reminder to look inwards, to actually have hearts that are changed, that are open to God. If we get that right, everything else hopefully will then fall into place. And then the second part, we're reminded to look at the foundation of our faith and what it's built on. So in summary, good trees, good hearts, good fruit, good humans, good foundations rooted in God.